using action research for teacher reflection. Remember, action research, systematic observation of one's own teaching practice. Action research is used for two levels of teacher reflection. First, to reflect on your effectiveness as a teacher and reflect on the connections of your classroom practice to research-based practice, or research-based theory. Two levels of teacher effectiveness. Now, starting with teacher effectiveness, we're going to look at two types of reflections, both students learning, are they learning, how are they learning, and your own teacher performance. Let us break that down. If you're focusing on reflection and student learning, it starts with a question. Here are some questions you want to ask. Are students learning? What are they learning? Are they able to apply their learning? Is there transfer taking place? These are all the types of questions if you're reflecting on student learning. And then you want to see if and to what degree the lessons or the curriculum objectives are being met. I'm reflecting on student learning. Now, you can collect data, and your data would be students' products or performances. Now, I believe in authentic or direct assessment, and this is when you use students' actual products and performances as opposed to some sort of cockamamie standardized test, which is an indirect assessment of students' learning. And you see all these anecdotal records, written observations, rubrics, reflections, I learned statements, conferences. You can stop the video if you need. Here's an example of a rating checklist to give me an example of students writing. Here's how I would rate that. Got some nice quantitative data if that's what I want. Actual products or performances. If I want to assess teacher performance, here are some questions. Am I being effective? Are there more effective ways to teach a skill or concept? What things appear to be effective? How can I improve? What's occurring in my class? What could I do differently? Am I presenting information in ways that students can understand? What about time on task or academic learning time? Are students engaged? These are all the types of questions. Now, here are three types of observations you could collect. On the back of your lesson plan, record your thoughts and impressions after the lesson or at the end of the school day. So you have what you taught and your impressions or ideas or observations on the lesson plan. Audio record a teaching episode for later analysis and evaluation. You can video record. I find an audio recording less obtrusive and I get everything I would normally get in a video record. Or have a colleague observe or do some sort of peer review. Now here is the lesson analysis chart that could be used with any one of these. And this is a place to start the conversation. Characteristics or elements, things that you're looking for, and comments or observations. A place to start the conversation. Based on conversation with colleagues or literature review, you may have different ones here. But this is an instrument or a tool to use. Now you want to review several lessons and look for emerging themes or categories on the back of your lesson plans, or if you're using some form of lesson analysis chart here. Use inductive analysis. You look for the types of categories and the numbers within each category. Look for these to emerge. The second level is research-based theory in practice, and there's three types of reflection here. Practice to theory. Here you examine a single class or subject over time. You observe and record the strategies being used. That should be a capital O there, I apologize. All right, what strategies are being used? And you can, again, use this in the back of the lesson plan or audio record. Then do a literature review to see if and to what degree what you are currently doing is aligned with research-based practice. Then make a recommendation and create a plan of action. And of course, then you could do an action research project on your recommendation. But just the reflection, that is a form of action research. Is what I'm doing, is it, and to what degree is it connected to research-based practice? Theory to practice. just the opposite. You start with a literature review, then you identify strategies and approaches recommended for teaching a skill or a subject area. This is what the literature says I should be using. Compare what you're doing to that literature review, so you're comparing the real to the ideal, then make a recommendation and create a plan of action. And the third one is list and document. Here you keep a list of research-based strategies that you know and you use. Just keep a list someplace in your planner or someplace that you know. These are what research says I should be using. In your weekly planner, document the number and types of strategies used, and I would keep a tally marks of some sort. So you can look back over the week and say, here are the research-based strategies I used, when I use them, and for what purpose. So that gives you some good quantitative data. And of course, it shows you how much or little you are using these different strategies. As you continue, as you learn new strategies, either by reviewing the literature or by your own practice and evaluation, continue to add to your list of research-based strategies to use. Action research, professional development, teacher reflection.